Hey, I'm Todd. I'm a maker from Baltimore, and I'm going to tell you about shrinking technology. Ready? So this is the Senator Theater in Baltimore, and on the left you can see the replica prop Han Solo and Carbonate that they have there. And this one, it's made by a company called Elusive Concepts, and they made about 1,600 of them. And it's made of fiberglass, and in 2005 it broke. Some drunk guy knocked it over. So while I encourage you to touch mine, which is in the lobby there, don't knock it over. It's made of rubber, and the Elusive Concepts one is a copy of the original, and mine's a copy of that one. So I promised you shrink rays, and we all grew up with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and I'd love to tell you that I have one of these machines, but it's not exactly the same, but it does work the same way. It still uses lasers, and you can make stuff smaller. So the shrinking technology we have today is a few different machines, and it's a laser scanner and a 3D printer and a laser cutter and some cool software. And what laser scanning is when you can take a real physical object and scan it, and you get a 3D model on the computer. And what 3D printing is taking one of those models on the computer and turning them into real objects. So the laser scanner I used is at Direct Dimensions in Owings Mills, and it works. It's like a barcode scanner, and it shoots out a line of points, and there's a sensor on it, and when you move it around over an object, those points get collected and creates a point cloud on the computer, which is just a bunch of points representing the surface of the model. So you can take these points and give it to a 3D printer, but you first have to change it into a surface. So what you're looking at here is not a surface, it's about 7 million points of data collected by the scanner. And each of these colors represents a different pass, a different sweep of that scanner. So when you take these points, you have to assemble them into a surface. So here's a picture of Han Solo's face, and on the left, it's all points. And the computer kind of plays connect the dots, and it makes a surface out of triangles. And you've got this surface that you can give to the 3D printer. And the printer then slices it into layers. So here's a star where it sliced it into layers. And 3D printing works by laying layer of material over layer of material. So one of the 3D printers is called a MakerBot, and the way it works is a process called FDM. And it squirts out plastic out of a nozzle, layer by layer, like a hot glue gun. So here's some prints that I made. You can catch them. They're Han Solo's head, and these were made on a MakerBot at the Baltimore node. And if you didn't get one of these, they're around. So this is the MakerBot. It's the one we have at the node on the left. And you may have seen it on the Colbert Report last week. And that's Brie Pettis for MakerBot and Stephen Colbert. And it's melting this plastic filament and layer by layer squirting it. So for my project, I needed a higher quality one, and I didn't want to use the MakerBot. I used a different one. And this process works by turning liquid into solid with an ultraviolet laser. It's the same kind of stuff they use at the dentist. And it's a UV light, and it's a laser beam that comes down and zaps the surface of the liquid. So there's this tank of liquid resin, and the laser comes down and zaps the surface, and the platform lowers, and naturally a new layer of liquid flows over top. And the laser beam comes and zaps that next one, and it's layer by layer. So if you don't have a scanner, you can still model something by hand. So I modeled these panels, and they're on the side of Han Solo. And there's free CAD software like Blender and Mesh Mixer and 3D Tin, and there's a bunch of these free softwares that you can use. And you can then upload those files to Shapeways. And this is a website where you upload a file, and it's something you can even make files on their site. And then you pick the material you want, and then you pay them a few dollars, and they'll mail it right to your house. And these are just a bunch of things that I've made using Shapeways and a few other online printing websites. And there's the TARDIS key from Doctor Who and the Green Lantern ring and one of Han Solo's blasters and some jewelry and Harry Potter's necklace. There's just a ton of these things. And if you don't want to model, you can use other people's models. And there are models on Shapeways that other people have and have uploaded, and you can buy them, and they'll appear at your house. They get mailed to your house. For some of them are like $1 or $3. It's very cheap. So there's this other website, Thingiverse, and there's 3D Warehouse. There's models online. So for the box, I used a laser cutter, and you can just draw blueprints, and you give it to a machine called a laser cutter, and it uses a CO2 laser, and it'll cut out the pieces that you draw. And there's the full-size one, and I made that box on a moving machine. It's like a drill, and it moves around. And that's at the Fab Lab in Catonsville. It's a fabulous laboratory. And If none of what I just said made any sense, please use this as a takeaway. It's Han Solo and not Hans Solo. One of them's a rogue pilot, smuggler, scruffy-looking guy from Captain the Millennium Falcon, and the other one just doesn't exist. Thanks.